Hi, I'm Casey Miller, a second-year master's student here at UNM studying civil engineering with a focus on environmental engineering. And my two mentors are Elian Elhaik and Jose Serrato. And I'm performing research over the uptake of microplastics and uranium in plants and their interactions in the soil rhizosphere. So shown here are some of the microplastics that we've actually created by grinding up plastic bottles using a coffee grinder. And the reason why studying these microplastics is important is when you see how fine they are and how they stick together, they actually can disperse and spread throughout the environment, causing major environmental hazards. And when you couple the fact that microplastics are able to absorb heavy metals, then you're at risk of other contamination in the environment. So why is it that heavy metals absorbing onto microplastics is important? It's important because heavy metals are very prevalent in native regions, especially in the Four Corners region of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. From the legacy of mining activities and the leftover remnants of the Cold War, there's been an excess of uranium that has seeped into the environment, and it's caused a major environmental hazard for the native communities. So it's really important to know all of the interactions, especially with uranium and other heavy metals there, and how those interactions work and understanding them so we can make sure that people are safe.
So my first task to complete was conducting batch experiments shown here. And the purpose of conducting these was to understand the adsorption characteristics between microplastics, uranium, soil, and water, all of which can be present in our system. So at each time interval, we would first measure the pH of all of our experimental units, followed by taking 1 milliliter samples for further analysis. Task 2 of my experiment was working with plants.
So for my plant experiments, we're using mint plants, which are seen right here. And we're actually using these plants because in Navajo Nation, they grow a lot of mint. And in an area like in the Four Corners of the Navajo region, when there's a lot of uranium or other contaminants, possibly like microplastics in the soil, and they could be taken up by plants, that means that there could be a risk for public health. So it's important to study these interactions so we know if the public is at risk or not.
So we are just now getting started with my plant experiment where these mint plants will be exposed to uranium, microplastics, the combination of the two, and a control without any exposure conditions. Through this experiment, we're hoping to get results to better understand how the co-contamination of microplastics and uranium affect their uptake in plants. So thank you so much for listening and stay tuned while we wait for our results. Thank you.